morning. Today is all about reflecting back through earlier on in the summer, before the sunshine that we didn't have, to think about the 2 days we had back in June, the health festival that we had on the Thursday the 25th, and then the food festival at Middleport, which was on the 28th.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm not going to shoot myself. Everybody can stop panicking. All right.
All right, so what we want to do is to split the time into 3 chunks, and that we want it to relate to 3 time periods. So the first series of conversation that we'd like you to have is kind of what happened before the event took place. So what did you know about it? What were your expectations and things like that? And then when we've had 10 minutes on that or so, we'll have another little conversation in your group, which is what happened during the event. And then guess what? We're going to ask you what happened after the event. So before, during, after. Very simple. Is that all right? Yeah? Oh, okay. Brilliant.
So when you say when to do with the stuff, where they get the stuff from the line?
Yes, that's true.
So you could ask like to sample something, and then there was the hand was held out for X amount of money. You can't, you know what I mean? When you're putting something on for the public like that, you do need to make sure that they do know what it is.
Yeah, so that
we perhaps start with the food festival discussions, and while you're telling us your conversation's been about, maybe Sean and Rob will kind of think whether you want to add more to that. All right, is that all right? So does anyone want to volunteer to go and tell us your thoughts about the first question, which was what were you hoping or expecting would happen?
We just wrote a list of all the things that we thought we would like to see at the event. That it would be enjoyable, you'd meet new people, learn new things, pass on information, encourage people to think about growing. It was for people to learn how to do things differently and to see different communities coming together.
Great.
Those were the expectations.
Thank you. Excellent. And any particular thing that stood out for you that was beyond your expectation?
It was just the atmosphere. I knew it. Well, I said all along, I knew it was going to work. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't expect it to be buzzing like it was. Not only were the people that were actually coming into the food festival, but the people that were there. People were sort of dashing away from their stall just to meet people. You know, people who'd never met before were taking photographs of your stall, and it was there was so much information coming in and out. You were like on overload, and it was like an electric atmosphere, I thought anyway.
And do you think that was people who were belonging to organisations that were interested in that networking and learning, or do you think it was the general public who were finding it interesting?
It was both.
Right.
I think the people that were doing things there, they were so enthusiastic themselves, it affected the general public.
Right.
You know, and they weren't only coming just to seed plant, they were coming to tell you about their gardens, their lots. We had people coming in off the canal that were on holiday, and we had 2 families from Cornwall, and they came just sort of timidly to look, and the next minute they were in, and they were planting stuff to take back onto the boat, and they were telling us about what happened on their allotments, what festivals they had in their area, because one couple were full of an international food festival that they'd had in the local park, where all different nationalities had got together, and they were demonstrating dishes and there was sampling of food.
Wow.
You know, and they were so enthusiastic about it. We think, well, that's a good idea, we could do that. You know, and it was just it was a really good day.
Obviously I'm coming from a different perspective because it's not local, my thing, fair trade, and I did express doubts about whether it would be effective, but I was hoping I always see part of my work as being educating people about fair trade, because lots of people, although they might say they know a little bit or they know the basic principles, some people don't know anything. I was hoping that would be part of it, and originally we were going to have funding to cover the tasting that I was doing. Then you decided in the end that I could sell things, so then I was obviously hoping to sell something as well, to cover the cost of what we taste, and I was obviously hoping that I'd put the right things out for people to taste that they would be new to them. So that was the first bit, and yes, I did talk to a lot of people and they were very interested. And one positive thing was the display boards were excellent. Because we'd been told we were going to have some display boards. I took things with them thinking, have I got the right things? Have I got enough? Will there be enough space? Will I be able to reach them? And they were great.
We felt that there should be more information beforehand, more involvement in the planning. Because Dennis, do you want to say a bit more about that?
Well, we just thought we missed the opportunity of picking other people's brains on the planning, because we had the meetings, but towards the end it seemed as though it was just finalised, and then we had the meeting where we went around and we were told, this is, you know, you go in here, is this all right? And we just thought if we'd involved more people in the actual planning of it, what few problems we had could have been ironed out, and it would have taken a bit of load off the people that were trying to do everything. Because it must have been a heck of a job to get everything sorted out.
Yeah.
You know, there was such a lot going on.
I mean, we sort of summarised that as people's knowledge wasn't always tapped into enough. There was also an issue about people didn't know beforehand if it was free or paid for.
Yeah.
Participants, people who were coming along.
So I mean, I suppose that's during actually as well. There wasn't enough advertising, and I know those leaflets were great. They were really good, and everybody got a PDF version, and we had the real leaflets. But things like, and I know I've talked to Emma about this, but no web presence. So Middleport Pottery, Middleport Pottery didn't advertise it on their website.
Both my demos have got a good response. Good response from those who were there and stayed the course. There was a great response. Really enjoyed the outdoor cooking experience. I felt like upstairs, I don't know whether I'm just being, I don't want to be a prima donna about it. I just felt people's attention was maybe divided. If you're trying to do a demo and then you've got just to your right there's another demo going on or setting up.
Well, they were nipping across to my chocolate.
And it was, and I thought maybe if people, I mean obviously Sean had picked up on it, you know, and so he came especially. Bless him, that's great. But maybe a clearer sign, or sort of like it's going to be starting in 10 minutes, but and almost like something to gather a crowd and enable them to pay attention. I felt like outdoors worked better, you know, that the kind of you can wander up and gather round, and outdoors worked better for me. And the only negative was the rain, but there's nothing what you can do that.
Put those on there, that's great.
And then, as I was saying before about being too middle class, the type of food festival gives a certain expectation.
So have you got suggestions for different? Well, that was my idea, because I think if you hear the word food festival, you expect there to be people selling food, and I think it was more a celebration of foods, and local food production and what's going on locally. And it's just, I know it's semantics and everything, but
it's important.
I think that having the word festival makes you think one way, and so because the only food that was actually on sale was what was in the cafe, the cheese boat, and obviously but there wasn't that much food on sale, so people thinking, oh, I'm going to try this. So that's just my
good point.
idea.
Good point.
Are you allowed to sell your allotment food?
No.
Oh, that's a pity.
I think the interesting thing is seeing Tesco were too generous. I mean, when the van arrived and they started unloading, I thought, oh well, there'll be just a couple of pallets, and it just said, hang on a minute, and literally ended up with this mountain of stuff. The interesting thing I found was that we left it there, and we got so many people walking past, and the one thing we were saying to them was, you know, this is from one supermarket. This is what 1 week's worth of fruit that one supermarket is chucking away. And I felt that in some ways it wasn't status quo's role to do this, but I very much feel that there was definitely a role there for making, because it was a food festival, to make more of a, this is the type of food that we're wasting, for to make a small political statement.
Yeah. All right. So after the event, what's happened that may have given you that kind of connect back? Something may have happened or may not, and were you surprised? So shall we stick with the food event? Anything
I've just got
stands
a very
out?
personal one. It was just, I just really enjoyed cooking on the rocket stove, and we got a little chimney in our garden, and I thought, do you know what? I'll try and get someone to make the same thing that evening, and it just got me into outdoor cooking. So that was a nice surprise, but just personal, really.
No, that's lovely.
But I enjoyed it.
So you made yourself a rocket stove?
No, we've got a chimney that's the same as a rocket stove.
You burn wood in the garden and cook things, and got into it, so it's good.
Sounds good.
And some clay if you want some to make you.
Anything else?
I think, Dennis, you said that you were surprised how well it went. It exceeded your expectations, didn't you? That was
which I mentioned before.
Yeah. And then in terms of positives, I think we both already had good relationships with other food growers, but it just created more of an impetus to do that. So an example is that we were building raised beds on our community project, and so I was able to ask other people, where did you get your wood from, and asked Jane, where did you get your soil from? She gave me a great contact who delivered it within 2 days, really good price, 5 tons of soil, and it's just, I've known Jane for a while, but it's just thinking, oh, I can go there now and do that. Yeah. And then you said, Dennis, about people wanting to keep in touch by email. Yeah. It's got Dennis on Facebook.
I wish that would be sent out beforehand, because the one thing we came and you got the set of, well, before the event there was very little information provided about what the day was going to be.
So that might be because I got all the emails and I just sort of sent Robert's in my stead. So
I got the emails as well, so I had the same impression. Yeah. I think it's, you send information out about an event, but does the information explain what the event is about? Because that's two different things. Is it something that people can read and understand? Oh, this is, I know what this means. Or is it a bit sort of patchy and vague and unclear and them type of things?
We've said more information would have helped. Pre-day information, did not know what to expect. We didn't know what to expect. It was very limited information. And I think on the day when we got here, I know we're talking about the day, but I think on the day it was, we didn't know what was to expect. So when we were told, right, you're going here, you're going there, you're going the other, first thing that came to my mind was, what's the overall aim and objectives? And I think the other thing from another point of view is it would have been useful to know what the aims and what, not only your aims and objectives for the day, but what your aims and objectives were in terms of what you're feeding back to the Arts Research Council, what they expect from you as a university, because then we can fit in. Because it can come very much over of a box ticking exercise, and you know it's easy to find out. Well, you know, is this a box ticking exercise? What, you know, are we jumping through white hoops of Keele, or are Keele actually wanting to do something serious?
Okay. Most of us, I say most of us, we're in the community, we're all active in the community, but we're all networked, aren't we? So there's a load of community out there, and we all do this because, you know, you do 1,000 lives, you might do your allotments, and you've got people who you know, but there's lots of people who we don't know, who are community. And the thing there, as I'm looking, I'm thinking, well, these are the people we want to be involved, not just the people that we're already involved, because we sit in here because we're already involved. Where there's loads of people out there who are not involved in anything in the community, and them are the people we want to engage with.
This is often the thing I feel, you know, like when I do my stuff, the people who opt to come to things are already halfway with you. You really, it's often frustrating because you feel, I really want to get to the people who, you know, for me, you know, who don't know how to boil an egg, but they won't, but because they don't, they won't come to a thing.
Sure.
So, so definitely, as you were explaining what the health thing was, I thought, wow, that sounds really interesting. That sounds fun, and ways of communicating.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, a 30-second talking head, someone animated and excited, saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and just something that you can click on your computer would be that would engage me more as a way of communicating it than there will be a health day at. I have to go. You lost me already, and I'm halfway there already.
No, these are